Okay, so this video is going to be about my thoughts on liminal spaces and how I feel about them and how they are for me. I've been really wanting to make this video for a long time now, but I just never really got around to it. And I do just really like the idea of making a video about where I talk about my thoughts on liminal spaces, because I like the idea of just kind of sharing this with other people and hearing what their opinions are. You know, can anyone relate to what I'm saying? How are liminal spaces for you? I just find the whole subject and the pictures themselves and how I feel about them to be just absolutely fascinating. And it's kind of a new thing for me because, I only discovered liminal spaces and like the feeling that they give me just only a couple of years ago. So I'm going to talk about what the definition of a liminal space is first, just in case any of you watching this don't know what the definition is. Maybe you've never even heard of the phrase liminal spaces before. Maybe you've never even seen any of the pictures. So the definition of a liminal space is a place that is empty or abandoned, which would usually be filled with people. These places are commonly but not always places of transition, such as stairwells, roads, corridors, hotels, etc. The aesthetics of these places can contribute to how eerie, unsettling, surreal and nostalgic the place looks or feels. So I basically discovered liminal spaces only a couple of years ago. How I discovered them was by watching the original Backrooms video on YouTube, which I think is just a really cool video, by the way, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below. So the original Backrooms video is based on a really famous liminal space picture, and I'll put up the picture now in the video so you can see it. I thought it was a very cool, fascinating and creepy video. Most of it is CGI, but it looks near to being realistic. It was from this video that I discovered liminal spaces. When looking at these pics, I had never seen anything like this before. They had this certain kind of vibe, a certain kind of feeling they would give me. Maybe you would call this the liminal feeling. This vibe, feeling, whatever, was something that I'd never experienced before. So for me, some liminal space pictures just look completely normal, and I'll put those up now. Things like empty parking lots, empty schools, empty airports, empty supermarkets. I mean, okay, of course, they don't look that normal as in, we're used to seeing these places full of people. But when I say they look normal, I mean, they just, to me anyway, they just don't come across as liminal. They don't give me a weird liminal feeling at all. It's like, okay, it's an empty parking lot, so what? I don't know, it just doesn't, there's nothing weird about it to me. It seems that for most people, the main thing that gives a picture a liminal vibe is that there are no people in it. Whereas for me, the lack of people doesn't have much to do with the off, unsettling, creepy look and feeling that the picture has. What makes a liminal space photo creepy, unsettling, off and otherworldly to me is just how the room or the place outside looks itself. Like the placement of things. Sometimes things like chairs, for example, might be placed in the room oddly, or a window being in a really odd place, etc. Or the decor, or the lighting, or the picture quality. All of these things can play a part in giving the picture that kind of creepy, liminal feeling to me. Take this classic liminal picture, for example. There's something so off about it. Just the placement of things. You've got like a doorway, a small doorway on the left, and then a giant doorway which doesn't match on the right. The doorway on the left, it's really dark in there. The doorway on the right, it's really, it's like it's a bright white in there. It's a bright white kitchen or whatever. And then the wall kind of comes in and out, and then you've got this really weird, like stairway in the middle of the room, which I've never seen anything like that before. Like the hole cut out of the ceiling for this above the stairway, it's like kind of like a quarter of a hexagon. It's just a weird, really weird shape. And then why is there like a doormat at the bottom of the stairway? There's just something so off looking about the room. I've never seen anything like it before. And you could put furniture in there, you could put people in there. That wouldn't make much of a difference to me. It wouldn't suddenly make the room look normal. It would still just have a really weird, off, unsettling, liminal vibe about it. I'd get that weird feeling from it. So I would just not feel comfortable at all living in a house like that. I think I'd just feel creeped out by it. and I probably just end up depressed, you know. Yeah, I just would not want to live in a house like that at all. Also, a lot of people say that liminal spaces give them a nostalgic feeling. I never find them nostalgic. I don't remember seeing even one liminal space picture which felt nostalgic to me. It's also really common for people to say that these places look familiar, like they've seen them before, like in a dream or something. Again, I never experienced that either. So maybe what I experienced when looking at a liminal picture, which gives me that weird kind of feeling, isn't liminality at all, and it's something else. Maybe my perception of a liminal space is a lot different from other people's. So not that long after discovering liminal space pictures, I discovered something called Heaven's Interior in the pictures that go along with that name. And I'll put some Heaven's Interior pictures now so you can see what they're like. I basically accidentally stumbled onto these pictures while I was looking for liminal space pictures, and Heaven's Interior pictures, they're quite similar to liminal space pictures, yet they're quite different at the same time, I think. And some are liminal, but I don't think all of them are. So yeah, the term Heaven's Interior and the pictures that go along with it don't really seem to be that well known at all amongst people who are into liminal spaces. In fact, they just don't seem to be that well known at all amongst anyone, really. So yeah, I find Heaven's Interior pictures to be absolutely fascinating as well, and I find them to be way creepier and way more unsettling than liminal space pictures. And I will make a separate video all about Heaven's Interior pictures. I'll obviously show them, and I'll talk about what I think of them and just like how they make me feel and stuff. Okay, so back to liminality. But yeah, I forgot to say, with some liminal space pictures, the room and the things in them, for me, they look as though they are alive somehow. I think this is what really adds to the surrealness of them, to that surreal feeling that I get. It's like the rooms and the things in them, it's like they're kind of alive somehow, like they're conscious and they are aware that you are there, in there, like if you was in there. And I think this has something to do with the picture quality and light. It's like the room has an aura, and I experience this a lot with liminal space pictures. Not all of them, but some of them I do experience it quite often. And I think I experience it the most strongly with backrooms videos. It's like the whole of the backrooms is alive somehow, like it's some kind of being. And if you was in there, it would know that you're in there. It would be aware of your presence. So how are liminal spaces for you? Is it really necessary for there to be no people in the picture for it to come across as weird? Or is it like how it is with me, where it's not so much to do with that? I mean, it helps a bit, but it's mainly just to do with how the place comes across itself, with how it looks. Just let me know in the comments section. And yeah, I mean, this is something I could talk about for absolutely ages. And I'd like to say more about this subject, but I can't really think of anything else right now. But yeah, I'll definitely be making more future videos about liminal spaces and Heaven's Interiors, and there's another one as well, which I forgot to mention, room holes. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching.